Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, where food and fitness come to hang out. Nutrition, training, and life. It's all fair game on Meathead Test Kitchen.
Welcome to Meathead Test Kitchen, a podcast where food, fitness, and mental health come to hang out. I'm Sausha.
I'm Sadie.
And it's time for June's mental health check. And this month, we need to talk about grit. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have it? What is it? Why is it important? Let's fucking talk about it.
Grit. Do you have it, motherfucker? In the words of Samuel L. Jackson, which not really, but I don't remember what he says, but he always ends every sentence with motherfucker, and that's why he's one of my favorites. But anyway, I read an article in Forbes not too long ago, and sometimes when you read Forbes, they are the fucking lieges of the hot take. But this article was actually really good, and it was talking about grit. The link will be attached, like always, in the show notes if you want to check it out for yourself. They had a 5-question quiz, so we're going to quiz you. Do you have grit?
So, question number 1, how's your courage? It's hard to quantify, but apparently it is proportional to your level of grit. Mostly what they're talking about is your ability to manage fear of failure, because that's the first thing that will sink your ship of success. Absolutely can testify to that. People with grit understand that there are valuable lessons, though, that come with failure. Also have learned that.
Yes.
And that the ability to deal with it is needed for high achievement.
It is.
I feel like it's a requirement.
It is a requirement. It takes a lot of fucking up and falling down before you succeed at something. Mm-hmm. You can ask anybody that is like the head of their field or, you know, even mediocre at what they do, how many times they have failed trying to get to where they are now. My God, how many times have I applied for jobs that I didn't even fucking get answers to?
Yeah.
Hundreds? I don't know. Like, how many times did I show up to interviews at radio stations to be told after the interview, that's great, you had a good interview, you're just not what we're looking for. That's life. Sometimes shit blows up in your face. Sometimes it just doesn't work altogether. Like, sometimes you piss it down your leg.
Shit, how many fucking diets did you have to go on? I'm speaking about myself specifically. I was thinking about this when I was driving to work the other day. I'm like, gosh, I don't fucking miss that. Mm-hmm. But I had to fail at a lot of those things to understand what works for me.
Yes, you're never going to figure out what works until you understand what didn't work first. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're going to get lucky and have success on the first try, but it's not always going to be like that. And when it's not like that, this is where grit comes into play. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the second question, what about conscientiousness? So there are 5 core personality traits that everyone has, but they all come in different flavors and like proportions. They're called the Big 5. Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and the neurotic. Hello from the neurotic.
Hello.
But each one has an opposite, and human personalities are a cocktail of all of these 5 traits, but at different amounts. So how much conscientiousness do you have?
Yes. And just to define it, conscientiousness is the one trait that is most closely related to grit. So why? Because it means that you're very careful, you're meticulous, if you will, and someone that's achievement oriented usually tries to do a good job or does their assigned tasks, aka their bitch work. I mean, I'm very much one of those fucking people. Mm-hmm. We use Asana at work, and I am the Asana queen. I'm not only the podcast queen, I am the Asana queen. Because I need those things to make me continue to be meticulous. If you've got grit, then you know it's important to give your whole ass instead of just fucking part of it and showing up for the bare minimum. I mean, the bar should be up here, not in hell.
Yeah. You need to strive for something. And I feel like if you want to be successful, not just at life, but at anything, you need to understand that you're always going to have to hold yourself to a higher and higher level as time goes on.
Yep.
That's just how it is.
Well, because you also evolve as a person. And as you evolve, the bar just gets higher and higher and higher.
Yeah, again, don't be Coop and Reamer from fucking basketball. Hey, you guys haven't changed since high school. Cool. No, it's not.
Please, God, no.
We not only
want to be that person.
We not only want you to know that you're allowed to grow, but you should grow.
Yes, 1,000%.
It's normal. It's hard sometimes, but you need to do it.
Yes.
Are you good at making long-term goals and following through with them? That's the third question. This Forbes article cites a researcher named Angela Duckworth, and she is the fucking authority on grit. We're going to mention her again here in a little bit, but she's quoted saying that achievement is the product of talent and effort. The latter is a function of intensity, direction, and duration of one's exertions towards a long-term goal. So She used lots of big words, and I love people that use big words, even if I can't say them right all the time, because I talk for a living, and when you talk for a living, you're bound to fucking mispronounce shit.
Whatever it is.
I don't care.
We're human.
I don't give a shit. We talk for 30 straight minutes. Of course, I'm going to fucking piss a word down my leg every now and then. But what she's saying is, like, show up and do the thing. And if you show up and do the thing for long enough, you're going to be fucking surprised at what happens and how close you get to that long-term goal.
Absolutely. And if you have not read the book, random, I know, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, go ahead and do that, because it talks a lot about this very fucking thing. In order to be a professional at something, you can't just assume or not try. In order to be a professional in the top of the top of the top, you need 10,000 hours on average to be the expert in that field.
Yep.
So what does that tell you? It takes work.
We reached professional level at this job like 7 years ago,
right.
probably. And we've been doing it for a while, but
exactly.
It takes a long time to be that fucking person.
And you don't get that by not showing up.
Yeah.
And you also don't know, again, just to reiterate, what you're good at or what some of the things you aren't as good at are until you actually try to do the thing. So just as we mentioned with conscientiousness, people with grit understand that you need a baseline time commitment to excel at something. That's why I brought up Malcolm Gladwell.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Practice has to have a purpose. And this is where long-term goals come into play. We've talked about goals to I feel like every single mental health check episode, because it's that fucking important. They help to build the framework and help to bring value to your long-term efforts, which helps build drive, sustainability. Ooh, get out your bingo card. Passion, courage, and stamina, aka grit.
There you go. Now you have your definition for grit, kind of. We're going to explain it a little bit more here in a second, because there's a couple different like iterations of grit, and they all basically break down to be the same thing. But depending on who you ask, there's different criteria.
Yeah.
So the fourth question, how about your resilience? Got resilience? You're going to stumble, and resilience is what you need to dust yourself off and stand back up after you hit the dirt. It's a combination of optimism, creativity, and confidence, and it helps you assess and attack situations after they blow up in your face. Now, we as humans are pretty much bred to be resilient motherfuckers at this point, because look where we are. Like, it's just an ongoing battle.
And we live in America.
Yeah. But like when people tell you that you're resilient, sometimes like, yes, it's a compliment. Other times when people are like, man, you talk about what happened after Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, you guys are so resilient. Yeah, but we shouldn't fucking have to be.
You had to be, and that's part of the human condition.
Yeah.
Part of like what you were getting at, like being a human being, we're built that way to be resilient. And sometimes it's a blessing, and sometimes it can be a curse, because it could be very traumatic.
Yeah, it's a double. I mean, there's two sides to every coin, and resilience is definitely one of those things. Like, it can be a gift, but it can also be a fucking curse.
Oh yeah.
But here we're going to talk about it as a motivational. We're using it to propel you forward. So we're talking about it in the positive way. But when we talk about resilience, that's always an important point to make, because you use that word around certain people, and they will get upset because they'll think that you don't know what it means.
Yep.
So resilience is the powering mechanism that draws your head up, it moves you forward, and helps you persevere despite whatever obstacles you face along the way. So in other words, gritty people believe that everything's going to be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, then it's not the end yet.
Right. 1,000%. And I think sometimes when we talk a lot about taking time to reflect, and things like that. And so when you look back at things, like, I think about work a lot. I know this is shocking. But I was thinking about this the other day, actually, because I'll be down at, by the time this podcast airs, the College World Series in Omaha will have just been coming to an end. And about how at one point in my life, I was like, I do not want to do sports at all anymore. But I had to fall and stumble and claw a little bit to get to where I am right now. And in those moments, I had to remind myself, okay, well, I'm going to land where I need to land, and it's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
You have to believe that, because I know that shit gets hard sometimes, and things can be really brutal in life. And if you just keep it in the back of your mind, okay, I am going to get through this, and the next thing is going to be the big thing.
Yep.
You just have to, I don't know. Sorry, food for thought. I was just thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, epic timing for this.
But that was funny, because I responded to that tweet, and I was like, dude, we said we weren't going to do a lot of shit that we're doing these days. Like, it also depends on your situation. Your situation is always fluid. It's always going to change. So if it feels right, and even though you said you're never going to fucking do it again, do it. If it feels right, roll with it.
Exactly.
But yeah, when we talk about resilience in this situation, it's just about like picking yourself up and pushing yourself forward again. Because again, we've said it a million times, motivation is fleeting.
Oh, yeah.
Discipline and resilience are what are going to get you to where you want to be.
And if you want to apply it to not, super serial things, but like fitness and nutrition, like think about that. Think about how resilient you are there. I cannot think of a single person off the top of my head in any way, shape, or fashion who is not resilient on a fitness and nutrition journey.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single one.
You have to flex with that shit. You got to roll with the punches. You got to do what makes sense at the time to get the goal that you want. Like that's resilience embodied right there.
Yes, for sure. So the fifth question here is, do you understand excellence versus perfection?
Ooh.
Oh, fuck. Hashtag targeting.
I mean, yes, Pharaoh. I don't know if I want to answer.
Do you seek perfection? If the answer is yes, you may not have grit. Perfection is excellence's cousin. It's unforgiving and inflexible. So basically, as we've said before, it's not realistic. Yeah. Nobody's perfect.
No.
There are times that perfection is absolutely necessary, but in general, it's usually someone else's idea of what's ideal.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about like a brain surgeon, like doing brain surgery. Yes, you need to be fucking perfect, but like at the same time, your fitness goals, your body does not need to look like that Instagram person that you follow who does CrossFit for 6 hours a day.
Yes, and again, just to reiterate, 9 times out of 10, the people that are trying to prescribe you a certain workout thing when it's like seems very broad brush, or they're posting, this is what I eat in a day and I look like this. You're not going to look like that and you're going to stumble. And I guarantee you those people that are doing that do not eat like that all the fucking time. Yeah. They are posting that shit to make it seem like they are perfect, but they are not fucking perfect. Perfectionism can lead to anxiety and is linked to it. Low self-esteem, OCD, anal retentiveness, substance abuse, depression, just to name a few things. Why are we doing this episode today?
Why
is this question in here?
Why is that list my life?
Why is this in here?
Like that entire sentence, I am completely attacked. I'm like, wow, I'll take.
That's
one
why
of
I threw
everything.
anal retentive in there.
I don't have OCD though. I don't have OCD.
I'm really anal retentive.
I'm very particular, but I do not have OCD. I have everything else on that fucking. I'll take everything else though.
But think about
Cherry's
it.
Jubilee, and that's it.
When the idea of perfectionism, like even the word, doesn't it give you a little bit of anxiety just saying it out loud?
Makes my asshole tighten. Like perfectionism. No, I don't like that.
It can be brutal, and that's why it is excellence's cousin. Because excellence and perfectionism are very different things. We're going to tell you what excellence is.
So excellence is an attitude. It's not the plan of attack. It's not the strategy to get you to the end point. Humans with grit don't want perfection because they know that it's not attainable. But they definitely do want to be at the head of the class. There's a difference.
Yep.
You can strive to be fucking perfect, or you can strive to be the best person in the room, and they are two completely different things.
Yes.
You could be the best person in the room because you are a perfectionist, but 9 times out of 10, there are ways that you're going to sabotage yourself by being a perfectionist, be it, through inadvertent ways like having imposter syndrome or any of that shit. Like,
you missed that one. That was last month's mental health check.
Yeah. Well acquainted with that one too. You don't even know how mentally broken I am. I hide a lot of it. But anyway.
I just put it all out there.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of it, but we don't talk about all of it.
Yeah.
But humans with grit don't want perfection, again, because they know it's not realistic, but they definitely want to excel.
Yes.
There's a difference between wanting to excel and wanting to be this like monolith on a pedestal.
Of perfect.
Yeah. These people are always seeking, striving, and finding, and they're never stopping. So if you're one of those people that's always poking to be like, okay, well, that's the answer, but why is that the answer? If you're a Google sleuth, you might have grit.
And how do we get to the next evolution of what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is grit? Grit is part of the growth mindset, and we've talked a lot about it, however, maybe briefly, before in previous mental health checks. But TLDR, here's what the growth mindset is. A growth mindset means that you thrive on a challenge, and you don't see failure as a way to describe yourself, but as a springboard for growth and developing your abilities. Your intelligence and talents are all susceptible to growth.
This all comes from humbling yourself and being willing to learn and being willing to listen and to be willing to take chances on shit that you're not sure that you're actually going to be able to do, but you're going to fucking try it anyway.
Change is terrifying. Learning new shit is terrifying. Doing new shit is terrifying.
Is there anything more frightening than the first day at a new job?
I
For
think
me,
it
that
depends.
shit's terrifying.
I can't.
I mean, if it's people you know, like here, it was fine because it's all
That's
people
what
that
I'm
I've
saying,
known forever.
and I can't. I'm trying to like my very, very first job. Oh hell yeah!
My first full-time radio job, I literally turned the lights off in the studio and cried during the afternoon show because I was so freaked out. I was like, "What the fuck am I doing? Why am I here? Why did they give me this job?" Well, stupid. It's because you're good at your job and you're competent.
Right.
As I call myself stupid, but like. Don't be. I say that to myself. It's like, don't be a dummy. You're being a dumbass right now. You know that that's not the answer, but you're telling yourself anyway. That's dumbass shit right there. Don't be that person. But the first person that we ever heard talk about the growth mindset was Dr. Carol Dweck from Stanford University almost 30 years ago. Yeah. She studied the behavior of students and kids, and this is where the term growth mindset was born.
This mindset means that you believe that you have the talent to improve yourself through hard work and the help from others.
Yeah. And again, I know everybody wants to think that they're self-sufficient, that they're an island, that they can do everything themselves, but this isn't true.
Oh, Lord. I can't tell you. I was thinking about this the other day. Again, thinking about work all the fucking time.
Poking your brain today.
But I was just thinking about how, like, somebody said something to me that was like, oh, we couldn't do this without you. And I was like, no, I couldn't do it without the team.
Yeah.
The team further propels me to be better at what I do.
Yeah.
That's kind of the shit in, like, the evolutionary mind shit we're talking about here.
And like, be willing to work with others. If they're your peers, give them a chance. They might not do things the same way that you do them, but give them a chance to at least show you what they know how to do. And then decide whether or not, like it's worth continuing the relationship. But give people a chance to show you what they can do. As someone who has been passed over a lot of times just because I was that weird, quiet kid that nobody wanted to talk to, I was also one of the funniest and smartest fucking girls that you would ever talk to in any of the classrooms that I was in. Like, people are like, oh, you're not a bitch, you're hilarious. My life is that fucking Amazon commercial where Medusa buys the sunglasses and Chun-Li is the song in the background. Like, seriously, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't fucking know something about somebody.
There's an age-old thing that people say a lot.
Something about books and covers?
Yeah.
Something about
it's
books
almost
and covers.
like that's true.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Cliche, weird, funny things that are true. But anyway, Dr. Dweck says that the growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things that you can cultivate through your efforts. So that means that these are all things that you can acquire and work on, that you can get a skill, that you can grow said skill. Although people may differ in every which way in their initial talents and aptitudes, interests, temperaments, whatever, everyone, no matter who you are, what type of personality you have, whatever obstacles you have to overcome, everyone can change and grow through application and experience.
Boom.
Now, whether or not someone actually gives you the opportunity to do that is a different story.
Yes, absolutely.
But, like, everybody has the ability to do it.
Yes.
So you can do it. If you're like, oh, this is bullshit. No, you can do it.
You can do it. I mean, you have to put forth effort, and sometimes that can be.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Exactly. What is that from?
I think Yoda says it in Star Wars.
Do not come for me, but I have never watched a single Star Wars movie.
I might have just misquoted Yoda.
I will not. I'm not going to. But anyway, here are a few tips to develop.
Do or do not. There is no try. Okay, I quoted him
name.
correctly.
Baby Yoda's cute. I crocheted a few of those. Anyway.
Baby Yoda.
Star Wars. Okay, whatever.
I love Star Wars. I'm sorry that you don't like Star Wars.
It's not that I don't. I just have never had any interest in it.
It's okay.
And as it's grown in popular demand, I have less interest in it. I'm one of those fucking people.
You should watch the first 3 movies. They're actually really good. Luke Skywalker's a whiny bitch, but he's a teenage boy, and that's the point.
Okay, well.
It's a good story arc.
Here are a few tips.
Trying to convince Sausha to watch Star Wars in the middle of our podcast right now. It's fine.
A growth mindset. Here are some tips. A, listen to the voice inside of you. The good one. Don't let the nice one. Yeah, the nice one that hypes you up. Don't let the intrusive negative thoughts derail you before you even try. That's called a fixed mindset voice, and it's bad news bears.
Don't let the little hoopla guy in the background yell hoopla.
Yes.
Drown that shit out. You don't need to listen to it. It's not contributing to anything positive in your life, so drown that shit out. Recognize that you have a voice. You know that the negative voice is dissuading you from trying, but it's up to you whether or not you're actually going to listen to it. Welcome back to another therapy trick.
Yeah.
Like, flip the script on your own internal dialogue. That's a really important move.
So another tip would be talk back to yourself with a positive, growth-oriented voice. This is like one of the best things that you can learn how to do. Talk back to your internal dialogue with a new angle. We've talked about this all the time. Flipping the script. Say things like, I'm not sure I can do it, but it's worth a try. That's more positive than saying I can't.
Yeah.
Or if I don't try, it's an automatic failure. And I've said that one,
That's
to
my
myself
favorite
a lot.
one. If you don't fucking do it, you're automatically
failed. This helps you drown out the negative noise that we were just talking about, and you get better at it with time. Again, this stuff takes time to work on. It's not easy. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's like a repetitive thing that becomes a habit and just a new behavior, and a healthier one.
One of the ways that it got to stick in my brain long term was I had a therapist that was like, well, how would you say that to one of your friends? And it's like, God damn it, you're going to do this again, huh? You're going to say, how are you going to be nice to your friends? Well, be fucking nice to yourself like you are to your friends. Why are you always doing this to me? I'm garbage. Nobody should be nice to me, especially me. But like... That's something that they'll tell you in therapy a lot, is to flip the script. And you do have to practice. And I know it sounds weird that you're going to practice talking to yourself and that you think you're going to feel like you're weird. It's okay. You're not going to know how to do something unless you fucking practice it.
Yep, exactly.
Practice. That actually is our next point. You know the saying, it makes perfect. But put yourself in challenging scenarios to help practice your new mental skills. Now, it doesn't have to be actual scenarios. You don't have to go get yourself into a fucking fight to see how you're going to talk yourself out of it. We're talking about hypothetical situations or like things like trying a new hobby. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Find outside help. And when we talk about that, we're not saying like, oh my God, you need help. But like, this is a long, weird journey, so don't go it alone. You need to have at least one mentor or confidant to walk this fucking journey with you.
Yeah.
Be it fitness, be it nutrition, be it your job, be it anything, life.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking go it alone. Ever. Take the canteen and take a friend and go fucking walk into the dark forest.
Yeah.
Come out the other side. You're going to need a shoulder to cry on or an ear to talk to from time to time, especially when shit gets hard. So make sure that that person is someone that you trust and someone that you look up to, that you'll actually listen to their advice.
Yes.
There is a lot.
That's super important.
It's very important. I'm going to say this, and this, if you know me and you're listening to this podcast, I might out myself, but like, my amount of how much I'm willing to listen to you is directly linked to how much I respect you.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Do I respect you? Okay, I'll listen to your criticism.
Yeah.
Would I not piss on your head if it were on fire? I don't give a fuck what you think.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's the other thing too. Like, I say this all the time now because it was said once or read it once somewhere, and I think I've said it a few times on these mental health check episodes, but pretty much what this says to me. So, like, if you're going to go to somebody and you're venting to them, you should probably ask for permission first because it's respectful.
Need to vent. Is that okay? Is all you have to say.
Exactly. But this is one of those things where I'm like, okay, well, am I going to go to that person and just vent? Because 9 times out of 10, this sounds so shitty. I'm just going to out myself. I'll go vent to a person that I don't necessarily respect because I just need to get it out.
Yeah, you just need to yell about it. You don't need them to help you solve it.
Don't need you to help me. Just need you to be an ear hole.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of.
But that's okay. Like,
stuff.
Everybody, you know what? I don't think that's shitty because I feel like everybody has people strategically placed in their lives for certain things, and we all need that vent person.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Everybody in my life is a vent person. If you hang out with me long enough, sorry.
But going back to like what you were just saying, like the respect thing, I don't want their advice though, probably.
No. Yeah, no.
And and the quote I was talking about was like, if you're going to, why I was saying this was, if you're going to go to somebody and you're just venting, but you're not presenting any kind of resolution, you're just bitching. And that's fine to do.
You're allowed. Just don't do it all the time.
Exactly.
Like, make sure that you're tying up your loose ends and handling your shit and doing some occasional bitching in between. Like, bitching is totally allowed. Don't take that as like you're not allowed to complain, because trust me,
it just changed my perspective for a little bit.
A good complain session, however.
For sure. Also, replace the word failing with learning. Spin that fucking shit into a positive. Just because it blew up in your face on this attempt doesn't mean that it's going to be like that next time.
What happens every time you fail something? You always learn something. This isn't placating yourself. You're not giving yourself lip service to make yourself feel better. Like, this is an actual fact. Replace the word failing with learning, because every fucking time we fail for a reason, and we learn. You
can't get better. We've said this before on a mental health check episode. You cannot, in my opinion, in our opinion, get better at something without failing. At least it doesn't have to be a massive failure. It could be little failures along the way. Yeah. There are a lot of things, especially in my professional career, that if I had not failed at them first, I wouldn't have learned a fucking thing.
I would have never remembered to load the logs into the station computer downstairs every day had I not accidentally forgot to load the logs in one night and got a call from my boss at midnight because all that was airing was commercials. It happens. Did I feel like an idiot? Yes. Am I the first fucking person to ever do it? No. Was it the only time I ever did it? Yes. Yeah. Like, it's okay to fail. Yes. You're going to feel like an idiot. That's part of it. But as long as
part of life.
Hi, I'm an idiot for money. Like, I've built my entire career around being a jackass. Like, you can totally be an idiot. It's fine. But, like, take something away from it that's meaningful every time.
Yeah, a lesson.
Because otherwise, if you don't take a lesson away from that failure, you're just going to feel defeated and you're not going to want to try anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So when by spinning it helps.
Yeah.
Not sit in that.
Yeah.
Stop seeking approval from others.
Whew.
Please, for the love. We talk about this from time to time from experience. Yeah. Try not to compare yourself to others. We say that all of the time, as you usually don't have the full context of the situation. We had a whole entire episode on having your own context.
Yep.
You can do whatever the hell you want to do in your life, but always remember that is your context in your own life. So seeing somebody else or judging somebody else for doing that, or vice versa, they don't know your context. That is the one thing they cannot take away from you. But when you're seeking approval from others, that's taking away from you.
Yes. Yeah.
You're giving your power away.
You're giving your power away. B, you're sabotaging yourself and not even honoring who you really are.
Yep.
That's really the bad thing about people pleasing and trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yep. 100%. It's like, I think back to like my early 20s. Oh my God, I was so approval seeking from everyone. I thought
we worked in broadcasting and we were in our 20s.
It wasn't even that. It was just where I was at in life. I needed the approval from others so fucking desperately. I didn't even have an identity because I just lived and thrived off of the approval of others.
My identity was just being wasted all the time.
That was part of it. Like,
you know what? Yeah. I realized that alcohol was a lot of the problems as to why I wanted to prove myself to be so fucking cool all the time. But like, when you are a public figure of any caliber, be it local, be it national, if you're an international superstar, you always have a fucking chip on your shoulder just because of the industry that you work in. And now that the internet is around, like, you see so much, I'm going to call it noise because it's what it is. You see so much. It's like intrusive thoughts. Going on Instagram and scrolling through like your suggested feed is like the visual version of having intrusive thoughts. And
I refuse to do it.
I don't do it. Like, there's a reason that I only follow like 150 people on Instagram. It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I don't appreciate that you follow me, but I am not a follow for follow kind of person because I can't handle that much input. It will fucking bug me. Yeah. It will bring me down because I'm busy seeing what everyone else is doing just because I'm bored at the time.
Right.
Like, don't put yourself in that situation. From two people that are very well versed in knowing about that.
Yeah.
Don't be someone you're not. Not only is it really unfulfilling, it's a lot of work. It requires a lot of not being truthful most of the time because you're not being someone that you really are. And I don't know if you know this, but telling a lie to cover up a lie is a lot of fucking work because it just snowballs into, like, I lived with compulsive liars growing up. That's all I knew how to do. And it took me until I was in my mid-20s and I nuked a really good friendship over something where I needed the chaos. I wanted the approval of my friends, so I got in on a shit-talking session that I probably shouldn't have got in on, and it ruined a friendship.
I cannot tell you how many relationships that I have ruined because I needed the approval from others all the time, but only knew how to thrive in chaos. Mm-hmm. I only knew how to thrive in it. I didn't know any other way, so I self-sabotage everything all of the time.
Yep.
And I think that approval-seeking behavior a lot of times goes hand in hand with self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm. It does. I think there's probably more psychology behind it, but like, I think it's also very closely linked to like your low self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, which we had in spades at that point, like
still do sometimes.
Sometimes, yes, very much so. Absolutely. But I know how to keep myself in check now, at least. But yeah, like don't be a people pleaser. Don't be someone you're not. It's not fucking worth it. Like, it's not fun.
Absolutely not.
Your friends aren't going to be your friends for who you actually are. They're your friends for this fucking fake version of yourself that you're portraying, and that's a problem.
Yes.
Because you can't do that forever.
No, you can't. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting, and it's not fun. It's stressful. But take growth mindset action. You need to follow through on the stuff that's important. Like, we talk about giving a shit about stuff a lot. This is that. Sometimes you may not always pull it off, but that's okay. You gave your best effort. You're going to practice your growth mindset, positive self-talk, and you're going to fucking follow through next time on your promises and get the goddamn thing done. That's how you get to the growth mindset that you always hear so much about.
I think one of the turning points in my life, just in terms of kind of figuring out some of these things that we're talking about, was our conversation on this podcast with Bama Burr. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't listened to that
I've thought about her this entire episode and how we need to do a growth mindset episode.
But something that she said really stuck with me. One of them being taking into consideration the things that you're doing in your life and if those are getting you further to or further away from your goals. But the other thing was showing up when you say you're going to show up. So my whole entire goal for the next year after she was on our podcast was following through on the things I said I was going to do to the best of my ability. Life fucking happens sometimes. It's not going to be 100%, but doing the things that you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Following through on the promises and appearances and whatever. I understand that sometimes you don't fucking want to go out for coffee. That's totally fine. But not avoiding people and making excuses because you think they're going to get mad at you.
Yeah.
Things like that. So like just for self-preservation, will not commit to something unless I know for certain I can follow through on it.
But we're also recovering people pleasers, so that is a very important boundary that has had to be set.
Yes.
Like I used to be that person that would always respond right away with a yes. Now I wait, and you'll know if you're in how quick I respond. Like if Sasha's like, "Yo, dude, we gotta do this," I'm like, "Fuck, of course," instantly. But like if someone's like, "Hey, you want to help me move a couch next week?" and I'm like, I could sit at home, smoke CBD, and play video games Saturday afternoon instead. I think I'm gonna do that.
Right.
Sorry. Like it's up to you.
Yeah.
You are the master of your destiny, and we've said that a million times on a bunch of different fucking episodes of this podcast. But again, it's true. Like you are the one that makes the decisions for you.
Yep.
You're the boss.
Exactly. So all of this to say why this is important. There's a fantastic article by Psychology Today about grit and how to grow it. It comes from...
it's long.
It is. Yeah.
Its link is in the show notes.
Yes. We make sure that we link all of the things that we use as part of preparing for these episodes. So it comes with a complete list of 20 ways to grow your grits, but we're not going to do another long ass list because we just did one. But if you want to see that full list, again, it's linked in the show notes.
It is a good list. It's worth looking through. It's short, but like if Sasha and I do 20 more things and then talk about 20 more things, we're going to be here for 40 more minutes.
Yeah.
Remember Angela Duckworth? We mentioned her earlier. So she wrote an entire ass book about grit, and she says that grit is, quote, the embodiment of several characteristics: commitment, intention, stick-to-itiveness, resilience, and persistence. Those 5 things are the most important components that will give you grit. She also goes on to say that grit will trump talent every time. Let me say that again. Grit will trump talent every time. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't practice and you don't hone your skill, talent only gets you so far.
Yep.
You can't grow your talent if you're not pushing yourself to grow your talent.
Exactly.
Talent is fixed. It stays pretty constant throughout life, but grit can be developed and strengthened through intentional practices, all of which we just talked about. Those are all intentional practices.
Exactly.
So if you want to look up ways to be like more positive, look at setting intentions. That's a good place to start.
Yes. Yep. And we covered that on a few episodes.
Yeah.
It wasn't the last one, but the 2 prior to that. And we do these every single month. So just go back to May and April.
Yes.
So grit matters when shit gets hard. It really fucking does. And I don't know if you've noticed or if you haven't been listening to the mental health checks lately, but we're all burned out. We're all fucking tired.
Yes,
so this
we
would be
are.
those times when things are fucking hard. We need grit now more than we ever have needed it.
Seriously, like, no joke. Grit is linked to self-control. And we've mentioned that loosely before, but self-control is needed in your fitness journey, but it's also needed in life. Like, if you don't have control over your own ship, what are you doing? Like, you don't know where you're going if you're not running the helm, right? So make sure that you've got your shit in check, you know where you're going and what you're doing. Grit is what's going to push you through the plateaus. It's going to push you through the shitty training sessions. It's what makes you show up on the days where you have period cramps and you don't feel like going to the gym. It's that flame that burns inside of you. Stoke that motherfucker often. As often as you can.
Like, seriously, we talk about this quite frequently, but on the days that you don't want to go and you go fucking anyway and you know it's probably going to be a shitty workout, that's grit.
That's great. Even
That's
if you
that
only
fire.
went and took a mile walk because your ovaries feel like they're going to fall out of your body.
Still fucking did it. You showed up for yourself.
Yeah.
Remember that every single win in your life, big, small, or minuscule, are all still fucking wins. If those are the things that you can start focusing on to keep propelling you forward and keep stoking that grit flame, keep fucking doing that shit.
Yep.
Show the fuck up. Again, like Sadie said, you are the driver of the fucking bus.
Yeah, this is
Or the
your
ship.
fucking show.
Yes.
Like, you are the one that's running it, and if you're not running it, no one's running it, and that's where things can be problematic.
Yes. You can get drilled pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Yes.
That's why we do these. Show notes.
Yeah, we're not therapists.
No, we are not.
We are just two people with a lot of fucking emotional baggage that have been to quite a bit of therapy.
Fucked up a lot.
Yeah.
So if you ever have any questions, want to scream into the void, want anything from us, have any questions, again, send us an email at hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com. Make sure that you're following us on the socials. We post stuff all of the time. We're at Meathead Test Kitchen everywhere except for Twitter, where we are at MTK staff. Almost forgot.
Because they won't let us, like, they have like
I know.
one character too long. And I was like, well, we could be Meathead Test Kitchen.
But that's not fun.
No.
Also, the full-length episodes are now on YouTube, so go check those out if you're one of those folks that likes to have it up on the YouTubes while you're doing stuff about the house.
Which, thank you. Our YouTube views have been going up
we appreciate
significantly.
it.
So appreciate that you like watching our stupid faces while we talk about shit every week. Today you got to watch me itch my nose a lot because my allergies are killing me.
Which is fantastic. And I keep otter clapping. So if you listen to last episode, you know what that's from. Our show notes, meal prep tips, recipes, and a lot fucking more stuff. We got Amazon gadgets and shit like that on there on our Amazon storefront. All of that can be found at meatheadtestkitchen.com. Again, send us an email if you'd like. hello@meatheadtestkitchen.com. Grab some fucking merch, bruh.
Yeah. Summer's here. Sun's out, guns out, bitches.
Yeah.
We've got tank tops. We've got t-shirts that you can cut into crop tops. We've got all that shit.
Yes.
And it's like
great.
$20 each. Like, our merch is actually really reasonably priced and really fucking good.
Yes. Yeah, for real. If you're looking for training programming, we have 3 out right now. They are at meatheadathletics.com. Sadie has limited spots available for fitness and nutrition coaching services, which you can also find at meatheadathletics.com. So make sure that you are fucking taking care of your brains, please, for the love of Spaghetti Monster. Please take care of your brain. It is important more now than ever. Remember, we fucking love you.
And if you need to reach out for help, we'll have resources tagged in our show notes. We're always here if you need us when shit gets hard. Like, we actually do get messages from people from time to time when it's like, yo, I need to fucking talk to somebody. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad to do it. Like,
yes, we are here.
Throw that shit over here. Let's talk about it.
We will help you find resources or just be an ear for that venting session.
Because you matter, god damn it.
Hell fucking yeah.
And it's true. I know it sounds cheesy, but you fucking matter. And we appreciate that you're here, so don't fucking leave because we ain't done yet.
No, we ain't.
Take care of your brain. We love you. Meathead Test Kitchen. Out.
Join Sadie and Sausha every Monday, helping to make your fitness and nutrition journey suck less. MTK.